What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the House Brewing Company YouTube channel, joining you from the Yakima Valley in Washington. In this video, I'm going to talk about water and its importance in beer making. And it may not be what you think, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so in this video I want to give a quick agronomic lesson about water here in the valley and why it's so important to growing hops and what makes this region special, not only for growing the hops that we love so much that make Treehouse beer so special, but also the apples that you enjoy in the supermarket, the pears, the peaches, the Concord grapes, etc. There's a million wineries in the valley that grow their own grapes and process their own wine, but also sell those grapes into commodity lots. That you can see right behind me in this shot is Mount Adams. We are sitting in the Cascade volcanic arc in the Pacific Northwest. This is a very active volcanic region, and so therefore there's lots of mountains that protrude up out of the world, and that's really important to what makes this growing region special, and I'll get right into that in a minute. The Yakima Valley is very unique in that it's a high desert. There's a ton of sunlight here. I think it's sunny something like 80% of the time, which makes photosynthesis and growing plants really, really attractive, only if you have water. Now, why is this region so attractive to grow plants if it's a high desert and it doesn't see a lot of rainfall? The answer harkens back to that Cascade volcanic arc that I talked about just a second ago. Over my left shoulder, you can't see it in the frame, but the most important mountain to this valley, not Mount Adams behind me over here, but Mount Rainier over here, rises 2,000 feet higher than Mount Adams, 4,000 feet higher than any of the other Cascade volcanic arc volcanoes, and it holds a ton of snowfall. And the beauty of that is that it's right upstream from the Natchez River, the Teton River, and the Yakima River that carries all the glacial melt down and through a system of rivers, dams, levees, and gatehouses that enable irrigation to happen profusely and proficiently here in the Yakima Valley. So when you combine a ton of sun with a ton of cloudless days and a ton of meltwater from Mount Rainier, it makes this particular region incredibly special. This is such an elegant system because Mount Rainier holds hundreds of millions, probably billions of gallons of water locked up in its snowpack. So even in years of sparse precipitation on Mount Rainier, and speaking with the farmers here, it can still sustain itself 2-3 years of drought in the region.
Mount Rainier is, 4,000 feet higher than like every mountain around it, so it has its own microclimate, and it really is a really sustainable water resource. It's one of the things that makes Yakima super special.
All right, so the Yakima Valley accounts for over 75% of the continental United States hop production, and that's entirely based on the fact that it resides in an ideal growing region that's a high desert that's supported by snowfall melt and stormwater runoff from Mount Rainier. It's such a beautiful and elegant system that makes so much of the food that we eat, even back home, possible. Julius, if you've ever had one, I can guarantee you part of it was grown right behind me. When we think about water's importance with making beer, instantly we think, is the water soft? Does it have a high calcium content? Does it have high turbidity? What's the pH? All these different things that we as brewers think about. But I'm challenging you to think differently about water and how it affects the outcome of beer, because without water, you certainly can't have barley, and you certainly can't have the hops that we love so much. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, we've got a ton of great content in the archive, and we have a ton of great stuff coming up. Take care.